This is IB Sports. I'm BJ Griffin. This is Rell Gibson. NFC and AFC championship game picks. It's been a very exciting postseason. Patriots getting upset. Atlanta losing the game to Green Bay. Both #1 seeds knocked out. And it'll be interesting to see how these championship games turn out and who ends up making it to the promised land, making it to the Super Bowl in Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Texas, in that massive state, Jerry World, whatever the hell they call it nowadays. And let's start with the NFC Championship game. The Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Now, Green Bay Aaron Rodgers went apeshit all over the Atlanta defense, so needless to say, this guy is on top of his game right now. Aaron Rodgers, the leading passer in the playoffs, 546 total yards, passer rating of 134.5. And to make matters, yes, nasty. And to make matters worse, they actually have the leading rusher in the playoffs right now. A lot of stout defenses, so that maybe this stat isn't as impressive. But total yards for James Stark, 189 total yards. So they kind of have that second dimension a little bit with the run game if they can get it going against the Bears defense, which will not be easy for them to get their offense going against the Bears defense, because the Bears defense is pretty nasty. Of course, Green Bay's defense also has a very sick defense, but the matchup to watch here is how well will the receiving core, Donald Driver and Greg Jennings and all of them, how will they play against that Chicago Bears secondary with Charles Tillman and all those guys. How will they match up? Because Atlanta's secondary, while they've proven to be a little better than a lot of people give them credit for, Falcons secondary isn't the best. And these guys, they're really, for Chicago, they really know what they're doing. What do you think about this matchup?
This matchup, I think, it's going to come down to, well, as far as the X factor for Chicago will be, I think the X factor is, of course, Devin Hester. How Green Bay punts or whatever, whether they punt to him or how they do the kickoff and everything will be a big factor in
special teams, yeah. Wins and loses games.
And how this goes, especially in Chicago, And as far as Green Bay or whatever, it's going to be on how well, which would be a good matchup, how well their offense matches up against Chicago's defense. Because lately Green Bay has just been pounding teams in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers really has been showing out. And like you said, been on top of his game. So that's going to be a nice one to see this weekend.
Yep, interesting that you should mention special teams. Chicago and Green Bay, they always play close games against each other. Last game, they were in Green Bay, and Green Bay pulled that one out. But the first time they played in the regular season, of course, and the first time they played in the regular season, Chicago won by a field goal in Soldier Field in Chicago, in the Chicago Bears Stadium. And of course that's going to be another factor, home field advantage for Chicago. That terrain is not easy to play on, although Green Bay, they've done it before, but it's not going to be, it's definitely going to be an advantage for the Bears. And also, Matt Forte in the last game that they played, Week 17, when Green Bay had to play to clinch that wild card spot, Matt Forte rushed against Green Bay's defense for 97 yards, 6.1 yards per carry on that Week 17 game. And this is when Green Bay's defense was trying to lock it down to get that wild card spot. So if Matt Forte can run like that against Green Bay's defense when they're playing at their height, then maybe Chicago gets the run game going here. Chicago has a lot of things going in their favor. Home field advantage, the possibility of the run game getting going. It's just going to depend on Jay Cutler and how well he decides to play, whether he decides to limit his mistakes or not. The Chicago Bears defense is monstrous. I'm actually, to be real with you, I've been saying Green Bay all week. Whole week I've said, okay, I'm going Green Bay. I expect Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl there, but I really looked at it and I've been thinking about it. I think I'm going to go for the upset here. I'm going to pick the Chicago Bears to go to the Super Bowl and beat Green Bay in Soldier Field. That's where I'm going. So what is your pick for this game?
Same with me, my friend.
You're picking Chicago.
Chicago also.
All right. Well, that is definitely that's interesting. But Chicago, this is gonna. However the game goes, it's gonna be close.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be close. Big time rivalry. They talk about it enough on SportsCenter and ESPN. So it's gonna be a close game. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout like the Atlanta game was. You know, unfortunately I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be real good football, whether it's high scoring or not. So that's the pick for that game. Let's go to the AFC Championship game. The New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll be playing in Heinz Field. That's going to be, what do you think about that matchup? That's going to be...
Oh, crap. Where do I start? All right, let me start with this first game. When the Jets beat the Patriots. Their remarks were so disrespectful.
A lot of talking.
Oh,
both sides.
It was both sides talking. This guy said he was cutting out, I forgot his name, so he was cussing out the mascot. And then if I was that reporter or whatever, I would have been like, you're not talking to me any kind of way. Like, for real? You can't stop a nosebleed. Oh, see you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait. Oh, and it just walks off. And then
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah, Bart Scott showing the passion after the game for it showed that he was excited to beat the Patriots, and he was just like, everybody underestimated them, and they did. I picked the Pats. I didn't think the Jets were going to win that game, and they did. They pulled it out. That defense really they knocked Tom Brady down a lot. I believe they sacked him 5 times, and they really they got to Tom. And he should be proud. He should be excited to go into Heinz Field and be excited for the fact that he is going to get this chance to play. And it's the championship games. A lot of people, including myself, I didn't think they were going to be in this position right now.
I thought it was going to be Patriots and Steelers.
Oh yeah, that's what the majority of people felt. New York Jets. Great run game. They had their run game going against the Pats, and they're going to need it here against Pittsburgh. The problem is Pittsburgh doesn't like to give up rushing yards. Pittsburgh, fantastic stopping the run. These guys,
they're ready.
Fantastic defense in general, but the Jets really need that run game to get going to have a chance on offense, and it looks like it may not be too likely to get that run game going against Pittsburgh. Mark Sanchez has to play mistake-free football like Jay Cutler does, or they have a good chance of losing. They're not going to be able to, as far as just defense, they're not going to be able to sack Ben Roethlisberger like they could Tom Brady, because Ben Roethlisberger is agile in the pocket. That big man is athletic, and he can maneuver right, he can break tackles, he can extend the play, and he makes plays downfield like that. So they're going to have a hard time getting Ben Roethlisberger down, and Rell and Cromartie and how well they play against in the secondary. That's going to be interesting to see as well. What do you think about the matchup? What do you think are some of the key points here?
For me, I think the key points is like what you said, the Jets and how well they do with their run game against Pittsburgh. I don't think they'll be able to get that thing going, especially with Pittsburgh being at home. As far as Pittsburgh's offense, I think the Jets it'll be more of a close matchup with. Like, for me, the Jets would just have to most likely win this with defense. I think they just have to make big plays during this game to stop the Steelers. More so on offense, but also defense, also, and that's about it.
Okay, Pittsburgh, solid defense. Rashard Mendenhall, be interesting to see how well he runs the ball. Big Ben playing pretty good football right now, to be honest, and it's hard for me to not pick the Steelers here, especially home field. Not easy to win in Heinz Field at all with the black and yellow towels flying and everything. So I gotta go Pittsburgh here. Definitely picking the favorite to win this game. Jets, they look real good, and they look like they look enthusiastic, and they have momentum coming off that Pats game, and they're going to be ready, but I don't see them pulling it out. I'm going to pick Pittsburgh.
That's who I'm picking also. That's who I was going with since the beginning of the week. I'll tell you. Well, they beat New England, but I think Pittsburgh pulled out on this one.
Yep. So, what are your picks for the NFC and AFC championship games, postseason NFL playoffs? Make sure to subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. This is Ivy Sports. I'm BJ Griffin. This is Rell Gibson.